stop watching porn. Okay, this is good here, because now we're gonna start making this relevant. We're gonna start tying all this into everything that it ties into. So, we've talked a lot about how to stop watching porn, and a lot of things that play into that, and all that good stuff. But let's talk about going further. Quitting porn is kind of a defensive action. You're trying to repel a negative influence or a negative habit from your life. Now, let's talk about going on the offensive here. What else is going to go along with that? Because quitting porn should not just be a standalone change or a standalone action. There should be a lot more to it than that, a lot more to what you're doing with your overall lifestyle. It's just one component of that change. You're not, at least you shouldn't be quitting porn just so you can run around and say, hey everybody, I don't watch porn, look at how great I am. That's not the point of it at all. And from my perspective as a Christian, it is part of becoming a better Christian man so that I can glorify God better, I can love others better, I can more effectively fulfill those plans that God has for me, and really just live for Him and serve Him. But that's not the only component in that. There's a lot more that plays into that, and well, what else is that? Physical fitness. I think that's important, and that's not really something that is generally closely associated with your life as a Christian, but it's something that you need to take into consideration. Your body is God's temple, and that's not to be taken lightly. So you definitely need to take care of your body. What else are you doing with your life just in general? Do you have other addictions that you need to take care of? Maybe things that there's not as much of a stigma behind. If you have any of that, then that's a problem too. You need to start looking at that and think about how that might be affecting your life, how that might be distracting you from what God has for you, or how it might even be, just in disobedience to what He commands. What are you spending your time on? Are you investing in other people? Are you trying to build God's kingdom? Are you doing things that are glorifying to Him and that are in line with His purposes and His plans for you? Are you investing in yourself, making yourself a more effective servant of God and a more effective person in general? Things that are going to help you to serve others, to serve God, to love other people? Or are you sitting around, or you're watching TV, or you're watching Netflix? Are you playing video games? Is that, the bulk of your time? Do you identify as a gamer? Because there's nothing wrong with gaming, but when you start to turn a pastime into a lifestyle, then that's a problem. And that goes for anything. Video games, it could go for, heck, it could go for, sports and stuff like that. If that's taking a amount of your life that it shouldn't be, if it's causing you to neglect other things that are frankly more important. What are your priorities looking like? Are they in line with what God would have you do? And what kind of a lifestyle are you living? And how do you treat others? This is a huge thing, because you're not on this earth for yourself. God put you here to love Him and love others. Those are the two greatest commandments. Those are kind of the two filters for your entire life. Am I loving God? Am I loving others? This is absolutely vital, and it's really the root of all this other stuff. All these other things we're talking about, quitting porn, it all stems from that. How does quitting porn impact your relationship with God and your relationship with others? Well, it impacts it negatively. How does, being in poor physical shape and not doing anything about it, how does that impact your relationship with God? Well, you're neglecting His temple. You're neglecting yourself, which affects your ability to love and serve others. If you're wasting huge amounts of time, nothing is free. You know, when you pay for a game or something like that, or even if it's free, it's never really free. It still costs time, and you can always make more money, but you're never going to make that time back. That's gone. So how much of that is it taking? How much is it really costing you? And how is it impacting the rest of your life? You know, what's the opportunity cost? What could you have done with all that time? What can you do with all the time that you're currently planning to waste? And again, it's not that, you know, you can't waste any time. Everybody needs downtime, and I do stuff that isn't necessarily productive on a regular basis. But my lifestyle doesn't orbit around that. My life is focused around building myself and building my relationship with God and building others in an effective way that ultimately, I believe, serves the purposes that God has laid out for me. And for me, personally, a big part of that was quitting porn. And I also quit video games, and I quit TV, and I seriously cut down on how much I, mess around on the internet. And I still do a little bit. It's not a matter of always being productive every second of your life, but it is important to live a productive lifestyle. And again, I talked about how, yesterday I talked about how it's easy to get into legalism and stuff like that when we get onto these kinds of subjects, and that's not where I want to go at all. And I can't give you a ratio or whatever of this amount of time for this and this amount of time for that. But this is something you need to think about. You need to be conscious of where your time is going and what you're actually accomplishing and what you're trying to accomplish. Put some effort into life. And getting free of porn is going to be a huge step in the right direction for that. It's not about the superpowers people talk about, whether or not that's real. I don't know. And, it sounds weird. I should know because I'm actually off porn, have been off porn for a while now. But, I mean, it's been a while, and it's a gradual thing. It's hard to tell whether or not that made particular visible changes, or if it's a combination of factors, or what. But in any case, it's not the point. The point is that porn is having a negative impact on you. It's having a negative impact on your lifestyle. It's part of a bad, degenerate lifestyle, and it's something you need to get out of your life because of that, and because it's contrary to God's will and all that. But again, it's only one piece of the puzzle here, and there's a lot more that demands focus, and really getting free of porn is going to help you to get these other things under control too, because it is a test of your will. It does develop willpower, and it's, it's teaching you to put God's will and put what's best ahead of your own desires and what's comfortable, what you're used to, what you're craving, and what you really, really want in the moment. And that's a valuable skill. Is that kind of self-discipline is a valuable skill, and there's so many more areas where that applies. And that is really what you should be aiming for, is once you get porn under control, okay, what's the next step? I've won this defensive battle, now how can I start to advance and take more of my life back and really start to live radically in a way that is pleasing to God, that glorifies Him, and that helps others. So think about that. There's too much stuff to go over in one video. Fitness is big. Strength, not just physical, but mental too. Read books and stuff is great. Self-improvement. There's a lot of really bad and hokey self-improvement stuff out there, but improving yourself is a good thing to do. And if you find the right stuff, then it's very worthwhile. Investing in others, socially, spiritually, all this kind of stuff. Are you involved in a church? Are you involved with other Christians? Are you helping each other, serving each other, feeding each other spiritually? What's going on there? Are you wasting too much time? Are you spending too much of your life doing stuff that really has no payoff? Are you obsessive about certain things that you shouldn't be? There's a lot in life, and to center it around just one thing, whether it's gaming or a sport or something like that, even a career or a job, all of that has to fit within a context, and you need to figure out what size of, or how big of a slice out of your life that really is, and what's it pointing towards, what's it leading to, what is it contributing to. Think about the costs of all this, the cost in time, the cost in money, the cost in energy, the cost in missed opportunities with other people, with all kinds of things. Again, this is too complicated a subject to go into a whole lot of depth on in one video, but be conscious of your lifestyle, and definitely work on becoming a stronger person, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally. The way I look at strength is, it's essentially your capacity for affecting reality, for changing the world. It's the bridge between the will and the world, is pretty much how I refer to it. How strong is that bridge? How are you able to actually have an effect on others and on the world around you? Physical strength, it's your capacity to physically manipulate the world around you. And I don't mean manipulate in a negative way. It can be positive or negative. That's up to you. It's up to how you make your decisions. You can use it to help people, or you can use it to do bad things, and definitely don't do bad things. That's kind of been what I've been saying for this entire series. But emotional strength, how are you able to support others? How are you able to withstand the stuff that's thrown at you and keep going so that you can still be there for others and live in a way that is effective and that glorifies God and that helps people? Mental strength, that's a big one. Are you developing that? Are you feeding your mind things that are building it up, that are really fueling it and giving your mind the tools that it needs to help others, to build them up? Spiritual strength, it's a big one. How much are you investing how much are you investing in your relationship with God? Do you read your Bible? How much do you pray? Do you pray? Are you spending time with other Christians? Are you having those kinds of discussions that you need to have? Are you keeping each other accountable? Are you encouraging each other? Are you confessing to each other? Are you really investing in each other as if you are one body? All of this ties in together, and all of this really is the end goal here as far as quitting porn. It's only one piece of the puzzle, and it's a big piece, but it doesn't come by itself. There's still a whole box of other pieces that you need to get into. So, think about that. All these things are not disconnected from your spiritual life and from your life as a Christian. It all ties in together, because faith without works is dead. So how are you living, and how does the way you live affect your ability to impact the world around you, to carry out those works that God has for you? I hope that makes sense. If you want to talk about any of this, if you have questions, if you would like my input on anything, if you want to hear me talk about something else and you have suggestions for that, then let me know. Leave comments, send me messages. Any of that is great, and I would love to talk to you. If you need help quitting porn, if you need accountability or anything like that, I would love to. If you have questions about any of these particular subjects that I've touched on here, these little facets of your lifestyle, say so. Maybe I can point you in the right direction there. But that's about it for this video. If you like it, then I make others. Check out those other videos. Talk about how to quit porn. I'll talk about all kinds of stuff in the future here. Subscribe if you want to keep up with that. If you like my voice, if you like my lack of a muffler, if it sounds nice, any of that, subscribe. Check out my other stuff. Pray a lot. That sounds like kind of a cliche thing to say, but seriously, prayer is huge, and you should be spending a lot of time in prayer. Pray for me, because I'm not perfect at all, by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not perfect. And pray for each other, and I will most definitely pray for you guys. We're one body of Christ, and we should be praying for each other. We're not all just separate little pieces on our own. One body, and we need to take care of each other. So that's big. Prayer is big. That about sums it up, I believe. You got a little into it there, but it's all good. Have a wonderful day. Stop watching porn, and I will talk to you guys later.